Hey there, everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave from thedarkstuff.com and your host here at the Dark Stuff channel on YouTube. Thanks a lot for checking out the latest video. Just want to say hello to all my old friends and also hello to all my new friends / subscribers who have come on board recently due to the success of my replacements Tim Let It Bleed review. Thanks a lot. Welcome to the journey. This particular video isn't going to be talking about the replacements, but still talking about a lot of really good music, so stay tuned. Showed you there a clip from the Gaslight Anthem performing last Saturday night at a brand new place here called the Astro. Great looking place. I'll talk about that in a second. In addition to Gaslight Anthem, I also saw Mike Watt's current band MSSV and a great new indie group called Weekend Friends. I've also got a couple of new records I want to talk about and a bunch of shows and channel updates coming up, and that's going to be towards the end of the video. So like I said, I did catch the Gaslight Anthem the other night on Saturday night, playing at a new place called the Astro. Let's start off by just talking about the venue because it is brand new. It's only been open for 2 weeks. They've had 3 shows there, right? There was the Goo Goo Dolls was one night. They had 311 the night before I went, and then Saturday night to see Gaslight Anthem. And I was invited to come down, take a tour, see the new place. It's indoor and outdoor, and it's called the Astro, and it's in La Vista, Nebraska, which is, the people in the city of La Vista would dispute this, but it's basically Omaha. So the place is beautiful. The outdoor, like I said, has been open a little bit. The indoor, not yet. It's about 95% done. I was allowed to take a tour and to see what it looks like and stuff, but I didn't take any pictures because I figured, why does someone want to see a not quite completed arena? And I don't know if they would want me to publishing it anyway, so there's that. So I chose the Gaslight Anthem to sort of tour the spot because I thought I might like them. I'm largely unfamiliar with the group. I do have this one CD that I found in my collection called Get Hurt. I don't believe I've ever actually listened to it. My friend that I went with, she's a fan, and so she was pretty amped about seeing Gaslight Anthem at this particular show. I've heard in the past they're sort of like a cross between Bruce Springsteen and the Replacements, and whenever I hear that word, the Replacements, I'm always like, oh, okay. And I know the guy from Gaslight Anthem, the main guy, was in the movie about the Replacements, the one where none of them are actually in it, and it's just other people talking about it. The show had 2 openers, which were very different from one another. The first one was this group called Catbite, and they were kind of a pop ska band that I'd never heard of. They sounded a lot like No Doubt to me, and they actually did a No Doubt cover during their set. So after Catbite came a guy named Donovan Woods, who was just a solo acoustic guy. So very weird. You go from like ska to a solo acoustic guy to then a band that's sort of like a Springsteen type of thing. He was good enough. He was very funny. He was kind of self-deprecating. You could tell he was sort of nervous being up on this gigantic stage by himself, but he sounded good. I didn't know anything about him or how he got the gig or whatever. I just know what I saw.
Well, let's pretend we never met.
then finally Gaslight Anthem came on, and I don't know what I was expecting, because like I said, I hadn't really heard too much of their music, but I was expecting it to like rock more. Like it was just very like poppy and light and slower and just not, I mean, maybe that's what their newer stuff is like, and people who told me it's like Springsteen meets the Replacements were talking about some older album that was better, but I mean, I don't know. I didn't really care for it. I did think the show was kind of boring. And I would have left early had my friend not been interested in staying, all the way through, just to be candid.
Smile when you find your wounds.
Okay, so next up, I want to talk about a couple of records I've been listening to, and the first one is the brand new record from the Mommyheads. They always send me a mug whenever they have their new album. Here's the new one. It's called Coney Island Kid is the name of the record. And they sent me this postcard with the name on it. It says, Dave, always honored to be in your orbit. Here is the 15th and latest. And there you go. Okay, so then it says, thanks, Adam. And so when he sent me Adam Elk, here is the CD of the new album, Coney Island Kid. I'm playing it in the background. It's awesome. Now, I have a series of other Mommyheads videos, and I rarely just sit there and plug a band and say, I want you to listen to them, but you should. It is up on streaming. But, as they're quick to point out, an artist at their level makes nothing from streaming. I mean, pennies. So they have a Bandcamp page. That's the only place you can actually buy the album. I would recommend you go there, mommyheads.bandcamp.com, and get the new record. Check out my interview. If you're a fan of sort of lighter indie rock with very sort of a smart and intellectual lyrics, exceptional playing, the Mommyheads are that band. I'm going to do a further review on the record later. I just wanted to touch base since it's out and I want people to be aware of it. And the other thing really was that I started listening to the new Olivia Rodrigo album, Guts. And I know people are like, heads are exploding right now. What? She's like a 21-year-old pop star, and that sort of stuff usually doesn't cross my path. It's not on my radar. A few years ago when she put out her first album, there were some people online that were slagging her and saying she ripped off this or ripped off that. One of the things that she supposedly ripped off was Pump It Up by Elvis Costello. And yeah, there's a similarity, but when an interviewer asked Elvis Costello, are you going to sue Olivia Rodrigo for stealing your song? He was like, fuck no. I mean, it's called influence, right? You take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of this, you mesh it together, that's your sound. That's what everyone does. Now he's friends with Olivia Rodrigo. I never checked that record out anyways, because I still didn't think I would like it, but this new one came out, and then I saw that the Breeders are doing tour dates opening for Olivia Rodrigo. One of my good friends posted in a Facebook group that I follow that showing the special limited edition vinyl that she got, and I was like, okay, I have to check this person out. And I kind of liked the new record, Guts. It was pretty cool. The first song or two. The first song had some Breeders production values and stuff, and I kind of liked it. Look, it's not going to change my whole worldview, but I just wanted to point that out. That I think that's a pretty cool record, and I did think it was odd that they were gonna tour. The Breeders were gonna open, but I don't know. I kind of get it now. She's like the new Madonna in the sense that there were a lot of punk rockers in the '80s that really latched onto Madonna. Mike Watt as an example, Sonic Youth, and some others who they got it. They thought that she was really cool, even though she was a major mainstream artist. I think people are starting to see Olivia Rodrigo that way too. Don't know. Next up, I saw Mike Watt's new band, MSSV. Here it is. There's the t-shirt that I picked up at the show. I thought that was some combination of their names. It's not. MSSV stands for Mainstream Stop Valve. Okay, so it's another kind of mechanical reference, maybe sort of like Watt's old album, Contemplating the Engine Room. He's always using metaphors and stuff like that. It's Mike Watt on bass, Mike Bajetta on guitar, sorry about mispronouncing that, and a guy named Stephen Hodges on drums. Stephen Hodges is been around for a long time. He's played with like Tom Waits and T-Bone Burnett and David Lynch, and he was also Watt's drummer on this record, Contemplating the Engine Room, which I referenced a few minutes ago, is his second solo album, and the live album that accompanied this Record Store Day reissue. The band was Nels Cline, currently the guitar player for Wilco, Hodges, Watt. So I went to see MSSV. I've seen Mike Watt dozens of times, going back to the late 80s with Firehose. I love and respect the man. I've done tons of videos referencing him. So I was, without a doubt, going to go to this show. I mean, there just wasn't any question it was going to happen. Get there, and opening band is a local band called Bad Bad Men, who I've seen before and I've liked, but I really liked them this time for two reasons. One, they were just good. They're a great just guitar rock band. Singer kind of looks like Mark Maron, like he could almost be his doppelganger. That's not the important thing. The important thing was he was wearing a Firehose shirt. Oh, so awesome, because another person who acknowledges the greatness of Firehose. I love the Minutemen, I love Watt solo, but I came into his music through Firehose, and it always frustrates me that stuff gets ignored. So anyways, I'm glad that he wore that to the show to make a point. I went up to him afterwards and said something. I kind of don't think he could hear me that well, or maybe he didn't understand what I was saying, but either way, Bad Bad Men were really cool. When it's time for MSSV, I'm standing right up by the stage, right where Watt's spot is going to be, and I'm told to sort of clear a little space because they're bringing Watt in, and I'm like, bringing Watt in, okay. So he was walking with the assistance of a cane, and he needed some help getting up on stage, and he looked very thin and very frail, and I was like, oh crap, I started getting worried, you know, because you just don't know these old rockers. Watt's been playing since 1980, you know, I mean, he's been out there a long time, and it's a rough life when you're at that independent van level, and that's the way he does it all the time. So Watt gets on stage and he sits down, and when the band started, he played amazingly well. Okay, first of all, let me dispel some myths about MSSV. I was told a couple of things that were straight up not true. Number one, I was told that it was all instrumental. That's not true. Okay, both Mike Bajetta and Mike Watt both do vocals. That's number one. Number two, I was told it was all improv. Not true. They're very organized. They're playing songs. But the musicians are amazing. They were so good. And Hodges, who I've obviously seen before, just wasn't aware of who he was. Phenomenal drummer. And he had the largest drumsticks I have ever seen a human play with. I mean, it was almost like they were like props for like a giant or whatever. They were so big. And then another thing that he did was at the first song and maybe other drummers do that, I've just never seen it. He had these like chains, and he was like picking the chains up and dropping them on the drum to make an effect, almost like brushes, but he was doing it with a chain. It was cool. I'd never seen that. So I watched the whole set. Watt was great. They were all excellent. You know, his Watt's playing is still stellar. I did find out later that he has some issues with his knees. It's not connected to a greater medical issue, and you know, he just lost some weight. That's the way that it goes. So hopefully he'll get that knee looked at or whatever as soon as this tour is over, or maybe he had it looked at and he's recovering. I'm not sure, but either way, it was not something to be super concerned about, which I'm very happy about. The show was excellent. Okay, so a little while back, I mentioned that I was going to go see a new indie band that I was going in cold, and I'd never seen them before, but I felt like I was going to like them, and it was a group called Weekend Friends, and here is their album that I got, and obviously signed by them. I bought it from them at the show. They were awesome, okay? First off, opening band was a local band called OJAI, and I'm sorry to mispronounce it. They were great. And I didn't know anything about them. And it's always frustrating to me when I find out a local band is really good and that I wasn't aware of them, that they've been going for like 4 or 5 years and I just didn't know them. Their stuff is up on Spotify and Apple. Weekend Friends came on and they were smoked. The club was maybe only about halfway full, but they were playing like they were at a sold-out arena, running all over the stage, crossing, doing the cool rocker moves and whatever. I really, really liked them. And I will say this, for the first time ever in seeing a live band, there were probably about 40 people at the show. Every single person in attendance got in the merch line afterwards and waited to go through the whole line to buy a t-shirt, to buy a record, to whatever. I did too. I waited. I got my record signed by all 3 members and got to tell them how great they were and whatever. So I've never seen that. I mean, 100% of the audience is like, ooh, I'm going to go buy this stuff. It was really good. I mean, that's a testament to how good they are. The album is on Don Giovanni Records, which is a really good label. And hello, if the people at Don Giovanni see this, I've been on the radio hosting an indie rock radio show for 18 and a half years, and you didn't send this to me? Come on, dudes. Okay, and then last, I want to give a little bit of a channel update for some stuff that's coming up. I participated the other day in a Zoom interview. Will from Vinyl Potato and I are doing a video together about the best albums of 1993. That's going to be on his channel, though, so when it comes out, I'll give you a little heads up so you can check it out. So I've got a new updated concert list, so I'll hopefully be seeing all of these shows that I'm going to put up on the screen right now at some point in the near future. I did find out one thing, though. Porno for Pyros on October 21st at the Steelhouse is the same night that Samia is playing at the Waiting Room. And that's a real bummer because I was very much looking forward to seeing Samia, but I've never seen Porno for Pyros and they probably will never come back. This is probably their last tour ever. So I'm going to go to that and maybe I can still catch Samia at the end, but I figure Samia's young and she'll be back around for another tour. Porno for Pyros probably won't. And then I ended up adding to my list from before the fact that Liz Phair is coming to town, which, by the way, Liz Phair's new book is going to be the next book for Rock and Roll Book Club. And then I'm going to be posting my next installment of the bands I've tried to like but just can't. My last one, The Grateful Dead, was a huge hit, so I'm going to have that next one coming up probably in the next 2 weeks. You'll be able to see that. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.